What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight for some more lake breakdowns. This one came from a subscriber just north of Austin, a little lake called Lake Georgetown. We're going to break it down tonight, see what we can find, hopefully put you guys on some fish. Stick around, got some good stuff for you. Let's go. Like we always do, let's go ahead and start out here on the Texas Park and Wildlife page, and let's talk about this lake a little bit, what Texas Park and Wildlife has to share with us. First off is Lake Georgetown. Its location is in Williamson County, just west of Georgetown, about 20 miles northeast of Austin. Total surface area lake is 1,297 acres, so pretty small lake, but the maximum depth on this thing is 85 feet, which is tremendously deep for a small lake like that. It was impounded in 1980. Shows here that the elevation, or not the elevation, the pool elevation, 791 feet. The fluctuation is 5 to 30 feet annually. I didn't see that much fluctuation, but it does look like it has quite a bit. Normal clarity is clear to slightly stained. When we look down here for predominant species, it does say that has largemouth, smallmouth, catfish, white, and hybrid striped bass. When you look at the lake records, the largest largemouth in here was only 10.6 that was caught in 2000. The smallmouth record was 5.8, but that was back in 1990. So not sure if that's been updated since then. Now, if we look down here for angling opportunities, we do have largemouth bass says that it's good in this lake. Smallmouth bass is fair. Catfish, crappie, white bass, hybrid bass, and sunfish are also out there as well. And one cool thing about this one, which you'll see when we do the lake breakdown, is they do have a lot of cover that they've put in the water for us. They do have these online or these fish attractors. So what we can do here is we'll go out. You'll actually see this on the breakdown here in a second, but we'll go out and we'll be able to see all of these different fish attractors that they put out here. So we'll have all of those marked for you guys. So with that being said, let's go ahead and switch over to Google Earth and let's see what we can find out there. So here we are out on Lake Georgetown. If you look over here to the left, I've got this sorted by a couple different things. First off would be the Texas Park and Wildlife's page, or waypoints that you see out there, not their page, but these are all the different waypoints that we got from their page. So you can see all of these are listed out there. Also have the offshore hotspots, which we'll go over with Navionics on the next video. We'll just kind of talk about those offshore hotspots and why I think those are good spots to look at when trying to locate some fish. We've also got a few different ramps in this lake, not very many, just 3 that I could find. There might be more, but that's all that I could find. So obviously the main one, you might not want to fish whatever one the busier one is, but I guarantee there's got to be a couple of them maybe that aren't as busy. And if that's the case, fish the ones that aren't as busy. Rocks, lots of different rock formations, things like that to fish around in this lake for sure. We'll talk about those as we go through that. Also cover not a ton of different types of laydowns and stuff, but a few here and there. So you've got some laydowns, you've got some stick ups, you've got some brush. There's some ledges that we were able to see from Google Earth, things like that. So we'll cover those. And then finally, channels and ditches. So these are all the different creek channels that come into this lake or ditches that we were able to uncover by looking at it in Google Earth. And then on top of that, we also have a pond. I think we only had one. There might have been 2. I thought I saw one somewhere else, but there's a pond dam right here that I think you should check out. I think the other one too was right in here. If you move it back to 2014 and you get way back there, there's potential that this could be a pond too. Could have been an old pond dam too, and that could be a pond dam right there. That's potential. Let's go ahead and mark that while we're talking about this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this back out and we're going to start this breakdown. So we're already getting into the juicy stuff. We haven't even gotten started yet. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and uncheck all this stuff. Actually, we're going to check it all back on except for the offshore. And then I'm going to move this bar over. You can see up here, I've moved my date back to 2013, but I'm actually going to use 2014 as my date. I kind of like it a little bit better. It gives me a little bit more clarity, allows me to see some stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to start over here on the left-hand side, or sorry, the right-hand side, on the east side. We're going to work our way up. and then we're going to work our way back down the west side. So let's go ahead and start here at the dam. Not too much going on at the dam. There is a little point. You always want to look for points around the dam. Those are always really good places to find fish. And right here, you can see you got a pretty good rock formation or something going on right in that area. You've also got a little ditch that comes down through here. Now, obviously, there's not a lot of water or anything in there. Obviously, there's a lot of runoff and stuff. You would get it there. But that is a really good area to find some good little ledges, things like that, washout from the stream, from the ditch, the water run and stuff like that. Those are good areas to find fish. So right there, right around where that ditch starts to come out. Now, if I move the water up to 2022, you can see it looks totally different. But we're going to look at this when the water's down, at least pretty far. I don't know how far this would be down, but a lot farther than what we saw a minute ago. So we've got a couple Texas Park and Wildlife brush piles out here you can take a look at as well. I'm not sure if they're brush piles or PVC, but they're definitely fish attractors. You've got a lot of rock really along the edge line of this lake. So you could definitely get up there and fish shallow with crankbaits and shaky heads and things like that. As we move a little bit further up here, most of that rock looked the same, but if you look right here, this rock has a little bit more of a ledge to it, has a little bit bigger drop off. You've also got this thing that you could fish around that's producing some shade. Actually, you can't fish around that. There's buoys there. Some of you would say, what do you mean there's a buoy there? But fish around here, set up on the buoy and fish around this little bank line here. This looks like it has a pretty decent drop off. You could also do the same thing over here, line up parallel with that wall, right where the buoy tells you can line up to and then cast this way. I think you could have some success right around in that area. You've also got a pretty good little rock wall that's going on right here too. So if that water comes up and gets above that wall, they'll probably set right on the edge of it. So you can take advantage of fishing right in there as well. All right, so that was switching it back to 2022, and the image from 14 is better than 22. Pretty crazy. All right, let's keep moving up. Not too much going on here. A lot of this just flatter type rock. Didn't see anything too crazy, but when we got in here, it starts to break off right here around this edge. And right there, you've got a pretty decent little rock pile going on there. So again, if we move the water up, you're not going to have any idea, right, that rock pile is actually there. This all looks the same, but you've actually got a pretty decent little rock pile right in that area. So I'm going to zoom back and just show you real quick because we've gone up a little ways. Show you where I'm at. So we came up the dam and we're just working our way right up through here. And that rock that we were just talking about was right there off the edge of that point, whatever that is. I don't know if those are pavilions or what that is. Looks like maybe some type of pavilions. It's just to the north of that. All right, so as we keep on moving over here, we've got some of that additional thing, where this breaks off and you start to get a little bit of a ledge. So you've got a little bit of rock here, a little bit of a ledge going on right in here. Again, more broken up rock right around in that area as well. As we zoom up here and we get up into the first cove, this looks pretty cool. This is an area I would definitely want to come into. You've got some additional rock or debris going on right here. Can't tell if that's a rock or a pipe or what it is. I put it as rock, but check it out. I can see them relating to that, but I really like all of this brush that's up here. Just being able to flip around the trees and stuff like that. To me, that's good fishing. That's Texas fishing, definitely the way to go. So you want to check out these pockets where this brush is, especially in the spring and the fall. Those are going to be great areas to go take a look at. And then if you look here right off this point, which is a great staging point, right? They're out here in the main lake. They come in for the fall to feed. Boom, they go back. They come in for the spring to feed. But they don't just go from the back of here to out here in the middle. They take basically pass, and then they stop at certain stop signs on their way out. So if they're in the back here and they're coming out, they're probably going to set up right here on this point before they either go out to the main lake or go into the cove. So this is a great place to have a brush pile. That brush pile right there looks like it could definitely have some pretty good production on it. Even this one out here, this one that's way far out, fishing on the outer edges of that brush, even out in here, outer edges of the brush, definitely could get you on some fish. So check those out when you're out there, and see what you can find. Now, as we move further up this bank line, you do have a lot of rock and things like that. So nothing too crazy. And you're going to say, yeah, there's rock everywhere. But these little rock formations that we've hit here, these are just special ones because they're bigger boulders. There's something different about that rock than all the other rock around it. Like if you look here, it's kind of like a boulder pile right here. You got another one going on right in here in this area, and then another one going on right around in this area. So those are why I think those are going to be the more attractive spots for you guys to be able to find some fish. Now, as we go on and we move on up here, we get up here around this next point. I didn't see too much around the point. You've also got the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor over here. There was a little bit of rock, though. If you zoom in really closely, everything else looks the same, right? Just kind of dull. But this looks like it could be like an old fence line or an old rock pile. It goes out this way. No telling how far out in the water it goes. But definitely right in this area, you can see it. It's a pretty good rock pile. That's a prime place for them to set up at. One, it's on the edge of the point, so it's kind of like we were talking about before. It's a great stopping spot for them. But two, there's not a lot of stuff in that area, so that makes that a really, really good spot to want to go find some fish. Now, we also have some attractors that are up here. We've got a pretty good little ditch here. Now, if it's raining, if it's been raining a ton, these areas right in here are going to be muddy. They're going to have tons of oxygen, tons of food. The fish are going to relate to those areas, but definitely look in here because that ditch could have created a ditch that's a lot further into the water that we can't see that they could set up on. So definitely go look at that. You've also got another little isolated rock pile outside the point here that you can check out. Then as you get back into these, there wasn't too much for me to mark, but there is a little creek channel back here. There's not any water in it in this case, but you can see the creek channel coming down here, goes up against that bluff wall, comes here and has a swing here. The two primary spots for this creek channel, if there was a lot of water in the lake, that I would go look at would be right here and right here. Anywhere where those swings are and they're hitting the bank, creating that bluff, you get the shade. It's just a perfect spot. So let's move the water up to 2015. Let's even go a little bit farther. We'll go, that's 5 of 15. It was way up there. Here we go. This is July of 2015. So here you can see if you were out there, you'd have no idea that all of that was going on. But that creek channel is definitely there. That right there where it swings up against them, right here and right here are going to be your prime spots in that area. All right, so let's keep moving it back so we can keep moving on. Obviously, too, while you're back here, be careful with all the stumps and everything. As you move a little bit further down, again, not a lot going on in this bank line, but you do have this little isolated rock or debris pile that's going on right in here. And those little spots where they're just different than everything else, those can be key spots to find some fish. Okay, so I'm going to pull back out and show you guys where I'm at now. I've moved my way up. We went into that first cove. We went into here. Now we're going to move on over, and we're just going to keep going over, past this way more towards the west. So moving down here off this point, obviously fish attractor there, a little bit of a rock pile or something going on. If I zoom in here real quick, I'm going to make you guys dizzy, but there is a rock pile, right? A big old rock right there. You can see it. And it's huge and it's bigger than anything else in the area. So there's going to be a bass or multiple bass setting up on that. Now, one thing I didn't mark is you've also got a little bit of stick ups and debris and stuff, maybe some trees right in this area that could have some potential. And it's pretty close to that little ditch that's right there. So I could see that having some potential, but I didn't mark it for you. So it's hard for me to really see or to know what I should mark there for you. But there is another ledge that's over here too. So definitely take a look at these ledges. That's where you can tell the water's it just breaks off and it gets really deep, really fast. You definitely want to look at those. That actually might be the offshore stuff that I marked for you guys. I'm not sure. Nope, it's not. It's just seeing from what we can tell here. And let's go back to 2013. You'll see, that always stays the same depth. That's how you kind of know that that's going to be that ledge there. All right, so let's keep moving up. We've got a boat ramp that's right here. Again, the boat ramps are usually really good to fish. In this case, with there only being 3 boat ramps, maybe fish the 2 that don't get used that much. Usually there's one really popular one, then a couple others that aren't. So maybe check those out. This could be different. This is Austin, super busy in Austin. So imagine maybe all the boat ramps are busy and maybe that's really not even a pattern you should try. But if it's not busy, seriously, go try it because it's definitely worthy of trying. All right, so as we get up in here, there is a little bit of a ditch or a creek channel. Can't really tell what's going on, but I went ahead and marked it for you guys here. You can see where it comes around here. It comes out here. It swings up against here as well. I think I was actually able to find this on a different, let's go back to 2013. Now you can really see it. It's got a lot of rock right in here. Well, this spot right here, zoom in. This spot right here, where you see that shade, that's going to be a good spot. And right here, where I have the rock, That's going to be a good spot as well. Why? Because it's a creek channel swing, basically. And if it's not a creek channel swing, it sets up and it makes it look really close to being a true creek channel swing. And the other thing that I really, really like about this, which is key here in Texas, is to find the shade, whether that be shade under the water or shade over the water, right? Or, whatever however you want to look at it. Right here, you can definitely see the shade. You can see the shade from this rock formation, and you can see the shade from this area as well. That's how I know those are going to be good areas to fish if that water is up high enough. All right, so let's keep moving on down. Let's see what else we can find. We got another pretty good ledge that's right in here. We've got a Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor here. Can we actually see this one? I don't think we've ever been able to see one before. And I think we can actually, there's definitely something there. So that must be their fish attractor. That's cool. Every other time I've done this, haven't been able to see the fish attractors. So we've also got quite a few fish attractors out here off this point. 3 different fish attractors. I could see this being a great place to do some offshore fishing, things like that. So definitely check out that. As we move over across this point, I'm just showing you guys where I'm at here real quick. We just went outside of that boat ramp there, Jim Hogg boat ramp. We're just outside on that point there. So if we go there, there's another one of those Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors. And again, we can see that there's some debris there or something going on there. And then moving up here, you heard me talk about it, but this brush can really be key. But the problem is sometimes you get too much of it. And like in this case, there's a lot of brush back here. So where am I going to fish? I could spend, 6 hours flipping all of that brush. Where would I spend? I work on the outside edges of it. So work on the outside edge of the brush out here. Maybe even out here, this could be a good staging spot. You can't really see it very well in this image, but if you zoom in, there's some trees right around here. Places people probably aren't even going to stop at. That's probably where the fish are, right out there in the middle. That's a perfect spot for them to stop before they go or come. So great place for them to get. There's also some brush over here, some pretty good little creek channels and ditches going on back in here as well. You can see a few of them more back in here. This is more of a creek channel here. And if you get that water up, again, there's some key spots back here in these creek channels that you can really load up on. One's going to be right in here because it starts to swing down. And you can see it creates a really good shade line right in there. So right in there is going to be good. And if the water was up high enough, you might be able to get back in here where you got a little bit more shade as well. No real big swings or anything like that going on in there. And of course, you never know what could be in here. If you followed the channel down, if you knew exactly where it was, which I couldn't really mark it for you because I can't tell exactly where it was. I think it's that right here, but I don't know for sure, so I couldn't mark it for you. But you could get up on that creek channel line and just fish the outside edge of the creek channel right where those trees are, and I think you'd have some pretty good success doing that. All right, so as we move further down, we're starting to get into some pretty crazy stuff. This is the point by Ox Hollow. We've got some pretty good rocks that are out here. You can see real good boulders. One there, something really big here. I put rock, but that could be anything. I don't know what it is. It looks like a huge rock, but it could be a sunken boat for all I know. We've also got ditches back here, so you can check out these ditches. All over here, you got a pretty good little creek channel coming back in through here. And again, if we look at that when the water's back up, it looks totally different, right? July of 2015, that ditch is actually under the water that we were looking at earlier. That debris, you can't even see that it's there. That creek channel is actually under the water now. And then here's the Texas Park and Wildlife thing. So pretty cool to be able to see this water fluctuate so much. Moving on down, this looks like a ramp that might not be used very much. Russell Park boat ramp, so you can definitely fish around here. You got lots of different fish attractors in this area. Look at all these you have off this point, which we'll get to later. But look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't even count. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 fish attractors right here in this area. So if you launch at Russell Park boat ramp, you've got a lot of potential right there. You don't even have to burn very much fuel at all. Look at all the fish attractors. All right, so moving down here, we do have some additional rock that's right here off this point. And if I zoom in, you can see there's some kind of laydown or something going on right in that area. So definitely check that out. See what you can find there. You might be surprised at what's down there. Could be a ton of fish down there as well. Let's see how much we have left. I think what we'll do is we'll go up here and we'll stop right here at the top of this top of this river channel or creek channel, and then we'll do the next video that comes down and does the southwestern side of this lake. So let's keep moving out. Again, you got a lot of different fish attractors that are out here that you could check out. As we get on up this little bank line here, now we're starting to get more into the river. So let me zoom back, show you where we're at right here. So we're starting to get more into the river. As we zoom in here, we've got these rock formations again. So notice how everything's pretty much the same, but then you have like these big rock formations. You got one here, got good shadows on both sides. That all looks good. Same thing here. Looks like you might have a little bit of a ledge or something going on here. Real great places for the fish to collect. Same thing here. We got boulders, more boulders, bigger formations. You got a little lay down here with some branches on it. That's money. Even you crappie fishermen might get excited seeing stuff like that. I could have marked all of these, right? Because these all have the same, but I'm just looking for the stuff that's really unique. So since all this started to look the same, what's different in all of these? Well, one would be that huge pile there. These isolated ones could be worth it. This whole area from rock to rock right here, this section looks like it's got some pretty decent potential. Okay, so let's keep moving up and let's go on up the river here. We've got this rock out here as well. Again, just those formations that I was telling you about. As we get in this area, we've got some interesting stuff going on. There's a little rock pile going on in here, so I've got that marked for you. But if you pull off a little bit, there's some pretty big laydowns out here. You can see them. And again, if you move that water up to 2016, you're going to have no idea that that stuff was there. You'll have no clue that those laydowns and all that debris was out here. I could see this being a really good offshore spot to be able to load up on some fish pretty quickly. Okay, so let's keep moving up. Again, not a lot going on here. You do have a Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor. That's kind of a weird spot for them to put a fish attractor because I don't see anything major around it. But hey, check them out. And then this is where we actually started the video when I was telling you about the potential pond dam being here. Now you can tell something's going on here. This is an old roadbed or something. So this is definitely going to be an area you're going to want to check. You're going to find rock and stuff like that, more of a hard bottom right in this area. But this is actually a pretty cool area because I want to show you how much this thing changes over time. So first, let's go back to 2013. So we're going to start in 2013. Here's the roadbed. It looks like the water came right up against the roadbed possibly. So that's why I think that could be a potential pond dam. You've also got, when I move this up 2014, if we zoom in over here, you've also got some pretty good laydowns going on right in here. Now on top of the laydowns, as we move further up, when we get into 2015, 2016, here we go, 2015, now you realize not only do you have the laydown, you've got the roadbed, you got the pond dam, but you've also got a lot of stick-ups and things like that to fish around. So what I would do is I would probably fish the outside of these stick-ups and then fish around that pond dam and then Carolina rig that whole roadbed and just see what I could find there. But that has some potential there for sure. As we move over here, there's also another pond dam right in here. It's kind of hidden. But if I zoom this back right here, this is 10 of 2014. You can't even tell that there's anything there. But if I move this back, come on, baby. We're going to see it here in a second. Here we go. 2013, when the water was up just enough, you can see it's starting to form a little pond here. And I think if I keep going back far enough, it's going to be nice to me or not. I'm not going to be able to tell, but oh, there we go. 2008, you can kind of see where that pond was. So I don't know if that's going to have a lot of, potential or not, but definitely if you just look around, look at all the other images of it, you can tell this is definitely a deeper spot. It's got a lot of debris in it. And on this backside right here, this northwest side, I guess you could say, that side looks like it has a little bit of a break in there. So with all that debris and that break in there, if the water's up high enough, that could be one of those little hidden honey holes that are out there for you to check out. All right, so let's go back to 2014 where we were before. Let's just keep moving up. Next thing would be in here is there's a laydown here. It's not much of a laydown, so I don't know if I would mess with that. And then we get up in here to this creek channel or river channel. I guess it'd be more of a river channel, not a creek channel. So this is the what did it say? North Fork San Gabriel River. So again, if you're up here and you're fishing in the river, you're going to want to look for creek channel swings. So anywhere where it swings up against and hits the bank line, this creek channel, really the best spot's going to be right there, that biggest turn. And then following it down, I don't see too much until you get maybe right in here where it touches a point right in here. You might be able to find some stuff. And that is really about it. You've got some backwater stuff you could try out and things like that, but not too much going on with that river channel. You got a pretty good little ditch that comes in through here, so you could check this out. Especially if the water's up, I could see this having some pretty good potential because it looks like it has a pretty good drop on both sides. And then as we move further down, this is where we would take us back to the dam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save that for our next video. We're going to finish up here. When we come back, we'll finish up the points for Google Earth, and then we're probably going to switch over and hit up the Navionics side as well and talk about the offshore spots for this lake, and that will wrap us up. So I haven't talked about it at all during the video, but I'm sure you've seen the pop-ups. Make sure to check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. You can get these waypoints plus all the offshore stuff that we're going to talk about all put onto an SD card, and then you can just basically take that SD card, plug it into your graph, and you're good to go. It'll show up. These waypoints will show up on your graph, so you can go out and check them out when you're fishing. You can also get the digital file as well. If you do that, I'll just email you the files within 24 hours. You can put them on the SD card yourself and do the import that way. But either way, you can get all these waypoints put onto your graph to make your fishing so much simpler. I'm telling you, it'll change the way you fish. Go out and check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.